Hey everybody, John with Owl, and behind me is probably stealing the show, and that is the Owl Gecko. It's a Winnebago Ekko that we built out to be essentially a mini earth roamer. That was our goal. How can we build a vehicle that competes with, a Storyteller Hilt or an earth roamer that are $500 to $1 million, and create that same off-road capability and that same livable space in a less expensive, more drivable package? We started off to do this just kind of as a pushing the limits of what we could do and see how cool we could make an Ekko look. And then people went nuts. They saw us at Big Bear, they saw us at the Ventura show, and they said, I want to buy that today. Can I buy that? And we said, no, this is our test vehicle. We're testing a bunch of new products on it. It's not for sale. We had so many people want to buy it that we decided to do something a little bit crazy. We've partnered with Giant RV to make a limited run of limited edition Owl Echoes. It's going to look exactly like the vehicle behind us. You see the wrap on it. This is an OD green with trees and topo, and we can get some closer shots of the wrap, but we're going to offer 3 colorways. We're going to offer blue, gunmetal, and green. So those are the only vehicles that are going to be able to get this wrap. We're copywriting it, and I think the thing is stunning. Let's walk around the van and tell you all about what we've done. So the first thing you're going to notice is probably the wheels. All Echoes start out as dualies. Anyone that's watched my video on single rear wheel drive versus dualies understands that I think dualies are pretty antiquated. I don't think they're necessary anymore with the load rating of the tires that we can get. Super singles perform so much better off-road than dualies. So of course, for the Talon, we had to go super single. So in the front, we've done something a little bit odd. Many of you may not know this, but the front hub of a 3200, it's been a long week. The front hub of a 3500 is actually the exact same as you would find on a 2500 Sprinter van. They just put what is essentially a glorified spacer onto the factory 2500 hub. So we just take that spacer and we set it off inside, and we'll talk more about that later. So our standard factory 2500 Talon bolts right up to the front. Don't worry, we have a solution for the spare. You also got some suspension peeking in there. We'll talk more about that in a second, so we'll move back here. This, I think, is gorgeous. Forgive that it's dusty. I probably should have cleaned it, but this is a super single. And if you don't know what a super single is, basically, this comes factory with dual rear wheels. So there's a wheel that mounts facing in and a wheel that mounts facing out. The problem with dualies is that you can't get larger tires on them because they hit each other. And that's really the only way to get ground clearance on a Sprinter. And then you also tend to get rocks caught in between the tires, which causes sidewall punctures. So for off-roading, super singles are vastly superior. So what we did is we created a wheel with a first ever 123-degree offset, which pushes the wheel way out and fills the wheel well on the Ekko, which is one of the things I jokingly refer to vans with wheels that are too far in as hippos on roller skates. Well, we wanted to give this thing a killer stance. These are almost 35s, just under. They're 315s. They look badass. They completely transform the look of this Ekko. Additionally, the lift. We've put a Van Compass 6.3 with rally struts, and it's critically important. I've said it hundreds of times in videos. These things are undersprung from the factory once you build them out. We've got an OptiRate adjustable mid to heavy tune leaf spring in there. We have Falcon Van Compass rear dampers. Super hard to see, but they're in there. And then we'll go up front and see all the beautiful anodized glory that is the 6.3 with the rally struts. You've got the additional piggyback damper up front with the adjustability. You've got the rally strut right here, and we're going to have all of the Talon builds are going to have the Van Compass 6.3. It's a 2-inch lift over stock. These things are sagged out from the factory. So really, the back bumper on this thing, from when we bought it to after we lifted it and put the 35s on, came up like 6 to 8 inches. It moved up like that much. That's why this thing, the stance is just killer. Those things on this rig, when I was going up the hill to Big Bear, if you're unfamiliar with that road, it is windy and as tight as it gets. I was riding the tail of many other SUVs because this thing handles so well, even though it's 11,000 some odd pounds. and it was carving up those canyon roads like a regular SUV. I was really, really happy with how that performed. This is the Ekko cab step. So from the factory, one of the things that, again, dirty, we drove out here on the trail, but one of the things that I dislike about the Ekko from the factory is they have a small step right here, which is great. In fact, a lot of the Ekkos, the Trekkos nowadays don't even come with a step. But there's a couple of things. One, the step is mounted quite high. And once you raise these up, you want to get it so that you can step easily into the vehicle. So what we did is we mounted the step here. It's basically the same ground clearance that you have with the factory step, but we dropped the step surface down about 2.5 to 3 inches, and it makes it a lot easier to get in and out of the cab. It looks a lot better. The factory step here, for some reason, I guess because the cab comes out, they wanted it to start here and it's on an angle. It actually looks like it's been in an accident. So we just wanted to put it the way we thought it should be, parallel to the body lines of the vehicle. And I think it looks fantastic. You can clearly see this wrap. I love this wrap. It is bold, but also blends. I know those are kind of oxymorons, but people see this and they go nuts for how insane this looks. But then when you go out camping in the forest, it blends. You don't even really see it. It's almost like a camping camouflage. So really happy with how that came out. The Ekko's available with a pop top, which you can't really see. We're gonna make a few with pop tops, a few without. So let us know what you're thinking there. Coming around to the front, we've got, these aren't necessarily gonna be part of the Talon package, but we've done it here. We've got the Alpha X lights, which are fantastic. If you haven't used them before, they're a simple upgrade. But this is really one of the most beautiful aspects of this vehicle, and that's the front end. We went with the Triple R grill lights. I got to aim that down a little bit. And then we also have this beautiful AFN bumper. It's a full coverage. It's called the Ridgeline Max. We're exclusive on this. I think, I'm not usually a fan of full coverage bumpers, but I think for the Ekko, this width to match the front of the vehicle with the back box to give it kind of equal weight, I think it really, really works. You've got the mirrors that are wider than a standard Sprinter, and it just gives the whole front end that balanced look with the rest of the vehicle. We've got a 12,000 pound winch in here. This is our brand new fair lead and recessed shackle, and this, I don't know how I say this politely, but don't let limp shackle happen to you. If anyone's ever seen the front of one of these vehicles without an indexing fair lead, the rope tends to loosen up over time, and then your fair lead droops, and it just looks kind of lame. So this is kind of cool. It indexes right into the shackle indexes right into the fair lead so that it doesn't hang, and I think that's a really nice touch. Obviously, here's your radar sensor. That's going to be for assisted brake, emergency braking, and adaptive cruise control. I'll get it right eventually. Coming around the vehicle, we've talked about the suspension, we've talked about the bumpers. On the back is a prototype of what we're going to make, which is rear gear carriers for an Ekko. Nobody's ever done it before. So we've created a prototype bumper. There's some aesthetic changes that I'm going to make to this bumper. We're going to bring this part in. You can see this is just tacked up, but I wanted to give you guys an idea of what this is going to look like. This is going to have Baja Designs S2 Pro lights, flush mounted. And then on this, we're going to have a tire carrier that swings out, still allows access to this door, but you're going to be able to mount your spare on the back. And then for those of you that either don't have a ladder or want a ladder that's less RV-ish, shall we say, we're going to have an Owl tubular mountable ladder on that side of the vehicle. And then overall, we're just getting kind of a much more clean finished look with it wrapping under. You've still got access to your recovery point or your hitch if you're towing. And all of this is going to mount to the frame rails. So most Sprinters, well, all Sprinters are unibody. But when you go with a cab chassis, which is what the Ekko is built on, you've got a Sprinter cab and you've got frame rails that run all the way to the back. Frame rails are incredibly strong. That's what they have on pickup trucks. And so we're going to connect this thing in, or we did connect this thing into the frame rails, and it allows a lot of weight. Anyone that's been around an Ekko before knows the bumper flexes. This thing, I mean, you can go to town on this as I try to break my neck. Nope, didn't work. Don't put that in the video. That's embarrassing. Oh, Alex Hommel would not be proud. All right. That was a very unathletic, scientific test of the rear bumper. I'm sure I'm forgetting things. We've got the exhaust. Oh, major thing. This comes with a propane heater. So one of the things that I love is I love diesel heaters. They're fantastic. And so what we did here is we swapped out the propane for a diesel system for diesel hot water. This is all done by Timberline. It's a fantastic system. It's a little bit time consuming to install. So we're going to figure out how we're going to offer this, because maybe not everyone wants this, but it really does make things easier. You don't have to worry about propane. This has 2 propane tanks and a generator. Don't really need the generator because we did a battery upgrade on it. So I just keep the generator as a backup. But in here you can see those are the propane tanks for the generator. Generator is really a nice backup. You're going to use propane a lot less. You've still got all your storage. For me, this is what the Ekko should be. It's a trail-hungry, livable family adventure vehicle that's going to do fire roads. It's going to do a decent amount of off-roading. You got a super single, so you're going to be able to go up those trails that you couldn't before. This has capability and ground clearance that's not there from the factory. Our AFN bumper comes with skid plates, so you're protected from all those obstacles on the trail. And most importantly, you've got all the drivability and the reliability of the brand new all-wheel drive Sprinter in a platform that allows you to have even more space on the inside. So if you want to be part of the Owl family and you want to buy the first ever limited edition vehicles that Owl creates, the Owl Echo Tetonn, it's going to be available through Owl and through Giant RV. We're taking deposits now on our website if you want to secure yours, because I know so you don't want to be left out in the cold.